Hi again, everyone, and welcome to Badger Breakdown. I'm Mike Lucas for UWBadgers.com. I'm joined by the voice of the Badgers, Matt Lepay. Is this team where you thought it would be after 3 games or not?
It's a little bit better, to be honest. I mean, I sat here last week and used the word tricky describing the game against Northern Illinois. Well, it was tricky to the tune of 49-7. That surprised me. Not so much that the offense was productive, but how well the defense played against a Northern offense, which had been pretty good. So obviously the toughest tests are yet to come, but the way this team has handled its business through the first 3 games, the way Russell has played, obviously, I would say it's been a little bit better than what I thought.
I don't know that there have been any surprises with number 16, Russell Wilson. We kind of knew that he would come in here and show a lot of poise based on his previous experience, 3 years as a starter at North Carolina State. But he has been better than advertised, I think, in certain situations, game situations, as far as his decision making.
Yeah, not trying to be great when you can't be great in a certain play. If he doesn't hesitate, if nothing's available, he'll throw the ball into the 10th row and live for 2nd down or 3rd down, or if they have to, which hasn't been often, punt. I think a great thing for Russell, though, and I would think he would tell you in so many words, he's very careful, and I think wisely so, in how he answers a lot of questions, but he just has a lot more talent around him here. He doesn't have to be the all-everything player that maybe he had to be at North Carolina State, where he was so vital to any success that NC State had. Here he's vital, don't get me wrong, but he has a very good offensive line, good tailbacks, a defense that continues to get better. As good as he is, as important as he is, I just think those around him are a lot better than what he had at NC State.
Well, the last 2 opponents, both Oregon State and Northern Illinois, have tried to take away the run first, and that didn't work. I mean, they got burned by Wilson and his receiving core, and you wonder now what the strategy will be as we move forward into the Big Ten season.
By his receiving core and by his footwork, by his ability to run for first downs when he's had to. Even stiff arms a guy last week down at Soldier Field to help turn I think it was a 3rd and long, into a first down. He's done that to defenses, so that can tear your heart out when it seems like you're doing everything right, and yet he still finds a way to beat you. You're right, it will be interesting. I think with Wisconsin, you probably still want to guard against the run first. You still want to do what you can against it. But that's what's exciting about this team right now, is the versatility that it seems to have on offense. If you stop one, it doesn't mean that you necessarily stop Wisconsin's offense.
And I think it's fair to say that Russell Wilson has been good for Nick Toon, but Nick Toon has been good for Russell Wilson. It's been a great relationship on the field.
The strength of Nick Toon, not that he was a stick figure when he arrived here, but I mean, you've seen the pictures, Mike, when Nick was a freshman to where he is now, and Nick talks a lot about functional strength, just how much stronger he is at being able to run routes, at being able to finish plays. He just, I asked him the other day if this is the best he's felt in a long time, maybe ever, as a Badger, and he just, he smiled and said, "I'm healthy. I feel good right now." And that was something that this time a year ago he couldn't say. Knock on wood, we can keep saying that, but he gets hurt in the first game last year, and it was frustrating. This year, he maybe hopefully got that little tweak out of the way in training camp, and he can continue to put up the kind of numbers he's put up here so far this year.
Last Saturday, the defense definitely turned up the volume against Northern Illinois. Isn't that fitting with our background music?
Very nice.
But I don't think anyone expected Wisconsin to be able to shut down that Huskies attack to the extent that they did.
Yeah, I have to admit, I thought this game would be a game where they may give up a handful, maybe 2 or 3 touchdowns against Northern Illinois. And look, it had averaged better than 45 points a game through the first 2. It plays very quickly when it's into rhythm offensively. I know Brett Bielema talked about as fast as Arizona State played on offense last year, he thought maybe this outfit, Northern Illinois, was even faster. They just weren't going to waste a lot of time between snaps. And the way the Badgers were able to contain them, I mean, to hold them to less than 300 yards. And I think Chandler Harnish is a very, very good quarterback. He looked ordinary last week, and I really would like to think that Wisconsin's defense had a lot to do with it.
2 years ago, when Chris Borland was a freshman, he was the worst nightmare for offensive tackles who tried to keep Borland away from quarterbacks, and we got a little glimpse of Borland again in that role coming off the edge on the pass rush.
The playmaking ability, and you would think that we could see more and more of that. And then what you really want to see if you're a Badger fan is that guy around the ball when there's a turnover, where Wisconsin has created just one, is committed just the one, but has created just one through the first 3 games. And You know, when the ball is loose, it seems like number 44 is right there to pounce on it. So maybe that's the next step. In fairness to him, though, maybe it took a couple games for him to knock off the rust, and we're starting to see glimpses now of that Chris Borland we enjoyed watching a couple of years ago.
Last season, South Dakota went to Minnesota and beat the Gophers. They've already talked this week about respecting the Badgers, but they want to get a good swing at the plate. Full cut at their at-bat here on Saturday.
That's fair, and I would think you would expect a team to say that, especially a team that's a year removed from going into a Big Ten stadium and winning. Now look, Minnesota wasn't very good, we know that, and actually South Dakota had a tough year last year. It won just 4 games all season, but anytime an FCS school goes into any FBS school, and a Big Ten school in particular in these parts, and wins, it's big news. There's 4 kids on the roster from Wisconsin. The coach was at UW Stout for 11 years, so it'll have special meaning to those guys. And I'm sure it'll be a real thrill for the Coyotes to come into Camp Randall and be in this type of an environment. If you're Wisconsin, though, play clean, don't turn it over, keep doing what you've been doing, which is something I think Brett Beal and his team has been pretty good at here these last couple of years. When they're better than a team they're playing, they go out and prove it.
Top of all that's a homecoming for Jake Sprague, former Badger defensive lineman.
Who knows a little bit about winning and winning big in his
Sure
time
does.
as a Badger, so it'll be good to see him back here. Co-defensive coordinator, he's been on the staff there for a few years. First year as a coordinator, co-coordinator, but it's another guy. There's another reunion. Here it is again, 3rd straight week where there's a reunion of former players, coaches who've known each other for a long time, and this week it just happens to be Jake Sprague.
For Matt Lepay, I'm Mike Lucas. Thanks for watching Badger Breakdown on UWBadgers.com.